Good morning, good afternoon, good night. Hey, good to see each and every one of y'all. Welcome to Let's Go Live with Lamont King, man. I'm glad you made it. I hope you're safe. Hope your family is good. I hope your neighborhood's still standing. Hope everything's you know, cool, calm, and collected. Appreciate you for jumping on. Let's go live, man. Shout out to everybody that caught the tough talk yesterday with Frank Holder from the Humor Mill magazine. You can also check them out at humormillmag.com and humor_mill on social media. It was a tough talk, man. We got through some interesting points of view and heard from some people and kind of flushed out some things that have been, floating around or some things that you thought about, might have heard about. We got a chance to talk about them yesterday. And salute to my sponsors. Shout out to Eunice. Shout out to Mish in Boston. Appreciate y'all for becoming partners with the show. I appreciate it. This is going to be a daily thing, so it's a soft launch. I'm not going to get into all of that. We're going to just navigate like we've been doing this forever. So we're just going to keep it moving. Now today, we got a few things we want to go through just to keep everybody abreast. Hopefully, wherever you are, um, I don't have the schedule right now, but somebody had just sent it to me on my phone. The election schedule, if it's your primary day in your locality, make sure if you got the time. No, damn that. Make the time today to go and handle that. And I'm gonna tell you why. So I work. Not that I would even have to tell you why, but where I work, one of my part-time jobs, happens to be today happens to be an election site. So just think of a building next to a school in the middle of a residential city block. So the line was out the door. So they're doing the social distancing. They got all that put in place. So the line is literally out the door, up the full block to the next street. You know how DC are, they're short, long, down the long side of the block, and then back down halfway on the short side, on the back side. So it's about 300 people in the line. It's not an easy process. It's not fast. If you, I want to say this message to you, if you haven't done it yet. Shout out to everybody that has. Jump on a comment section, put a thumbs up. I voted, whatever you want to do. If you did, but if you have not, please be patient. Don't get the game messed up. Don't start acting brand new. You know what this is. The stakes are way higher. Just be patient. You was in the house for 3 months. You can do it. It's a little warm out there. It might even start raining in some parts of the country. Just be patient. Stand. If you haven't done early voting, which you may or may not have had the opportunity to do wherever you live at. If you did that, good. You took advantage of it. If you could mail it in, good. You took advantage of it. If you didn't get a chance to do, this is no judgment. If you didn't get a chance to do that, just be patient. Go out there and stand in line and don't really be. It was a couple people in the line with their face all screwed up. The stakes are high. It is literally life and death. So I don't care if you're a fan of, you might be the one that people die for you to have the right to vote. You might be one of those. You might be the ones that my vote don't matter. You could be one of those. You could be somewhere in the middle and be like, I'm gonna do it and just go through the motions, but ain't shit gonna change. That's fine. All of those are fine. Nobody's right or wrong. I'm saying when you get in that line, just know you're gonna be waiting and just know it's worth the wait. Okay? Can we do that? Stakes are super, super high. So let's leave it at that. Also, most of y'all are. Oh, let me see. Let me check first. Can you make sure I got everything going? So there's somebody saying they can't see me. Can you see me on Facebook? And can you see me on YouTube? I need you to type in Raynetta, what are you watching me on? Facebook or YouTube? Because everything's a go here. So let me be before I continue. Let me go. Can I get anybody? Do I got to go to Facebook on my phone to check and see if I can see me? Okay, yes, Facebook. All right, Facebook is a go. Anybody watching on YouTube right now? Let me go to my own YouTube page. Let me see. Okay, Facebook is clear. Good to see you, Ray. Mish, good to see you. All right, let's see. Let's go to my YouTube page just before I continue because I don't want to. You know what I mean? My man said, "Yo, I can't see you." All right. Well, you get your Wi-Fi, get your Wi-Fi up, cuz. Get your Wi-Fi up. All right. I don't see it on YouTube. So let me know. Anyway, moving right along. So again, that's the current situation. That's what we're doing. That's what today is. Now, today is also Blackout Tuesday. All right. So I gotta give the information first, in my opinion, second. So the information is today someone organized, I'm not sure who. I haven't dug that deep yet. Um, whereas today is designated as, the original plan was to put a black image, all black image on your social media to in solidarity of I guess the movement, and to let the powers that be know that this amount of people is supporting what's going on right now. I don't get it, and it seemed like it had some flaws and some holes in it. And earlier today, um there were some changes and adjustments. And here's the flaw. The flaw is, and this is what people are saying, if you do that, and the original intent was to go all black posts square on your social media. So if I'm going through my timeline, I'm seeing all black and I'm like, oh, solidarity, solidarity. However, the original ask was to put Black Lives Matter, hashtag BLM, hashtag Black Lives Matter. But then it came out later, it was like, okay, that was a poorly executed plan, because if you do that, when you go to the hashtag looking for information, all you're going to see is black screens. And we're at a critical time right now. And it's way too much important information that needs to be shared, especially on today, where that's not going to work. So again, no judgment zone for those of you who are doing that, participating in Blackouts Tuesday. They're saying just change your hashtags. Even more so, delete the post, repost with a different hashtag like Blackout Tuesday or something other than George Floyd, BLM, Black Lives Matter. Now, this is just the information. I'm giving you information. My opinion is, I still think it's a setup. That's just me. I don't want to necessarily influence you, but I still don't buy it. Um, the original intent didn't make sense to me. Why would you do that on election Tuesday? Who picks these dates for these protests? It's almost like when you be sitting there and you see something come across, you get a coupon. Oh shit, it's National Hamburger Day. Like, I ain't even know. Like, who picks these days? Oh, it's National Margarita Day. Wasn't it National Margarita Day last month? Like, it felt that way to me. Like, who? There's another one coming on July 7th, where we're supposed to, the black community, Black America, the black dollar. We're supposed to flex our spending muscle and not purchase anything, not go anywhere, not come out the house on July 7th. And I was like, July 7th? Is that a Tuesday? Is that the day when Christopher Columbus pimp slapped his first Native American? Like, what is it tied to? Why not the 4th? Why not the 4th through the 7th? Why not fucking tomorrow? I don't know. So again, no judgment, no judgment zone. But whoever picked today, I feel like there's some holes in it. And second piece of that is, again, we are watching before us in our own, with our own two eyes. We are watching live our movement, or the movement, in case you're not claiming it, the movement being hijacked by infiltrators and subversive agents. Who's to say that this one was not the same way? Because if you do go to that hashtag and you see um, that all the images is an all black page, and it floods the page, and then it gets to a certain point, if it's so many of them, I don't know if you've ever taken the time to do this. If it's so many of them, you don't see previous images. So if everybody's 10,000, 100,000, everybody's doing a blackout, and then you get to a point where you can't see important information. My whole thing is, who came up with that? That it doesn't sound like a bright idea from our side, and it sounds like a genius idea from somebody looking to fuck things up. So I don't know. Blackout Tuesday, do with it what you will. That's what it is. If you have made the post, if that's how you feel, you need to silently protest. They're urging you, the original organizers. It came out of the music industry, which again, some musical artists are the ones apparently who came up with the idea, which again to me is weird. So then there's that. Oh, let me get right here. Then there's that. So if you have made a post in solidarity, um, take down the post, repost, and add different hashtags. Don't do BLM and don't do Black Lives Matter. Okay, can you do that for me? All right. So in other news, what we don't know now. Also a discussion today. I want to get your thoughts on this. There's this big discussion that started yesterday, and it's really boiling over today. Today we're gonna try to get into some solutions. I got a guest coming on. My man put up a Facebook post, dynamite, the other day, and I was like, man, you got to talk about this. He was like, nah, I want you to put it out there. I'm like, nah, you authored it. I want you to talk about it so that I can, I don't inarticulate or articulate it in a way in which you didn't write it. Um, so he say you in the waiting room, but I don't see you. I don't see you, champ. Check your email. This is live, by the way. Let's go live. Let's go. All right. So anyway, so he made a post, and it was about it was an action plan. I've seen several of these on YouTube. I mean, on Facebook, on social media. But this one kind of jumped out at me more so than any of the other ones. And so I'm gonna let him come on and talk about it. And also, I'm gonna open the phone. I'm not gonna say phone lines. I only got one line. We're gonna open the phone 347. The line, matter of fact, it's in there. Check the comments. The numbers in there. 347 And also, this is gonna be a daily situation, and it's completely viewer funded, 100% by you, by the support of you. As money's going to a good cause. My production costs here in Tiny Studios. Um, Tiny Studios is my broadcast base of operations, and we bring you other fine, wonderful programming like a Tiny Closet, Tiny Kitchen, and Tiny DIY, which are all great programs. And also, we're gonna see some interviews coming out of here, man. We gotta get real. It's time to get real, man. It's time to activate. So um, that's what that is. So the second thing I saw, conversation. And I know a lot of y'all gonna have opinions on this one. There's this awakening with our youngsters, 20 and under. There's the absolute awakening with the 20 and under crowd. And so there's this discussion about HBCUs. And it's fascinating to see it. Check your email. He said he here. Hold up. Y'all bear with me. Where you at, champ? Let's see if this is the right. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna invite him in the email one more time. So here's what I did. I can't see y'all. Y'all should still be able to see me. So hang on the line. Here's what I did. So yesterday, like I said, this is completely viewer funded. So what I did yesterday with the money that you sent me, um, sponsoring this endeavor, I went ahead and got the pro account for the streaming service. So we got features now. We on here with features. We can do stuff, and we bring people and lights, camera, and graphics and video and all that. So we did that, which you might thanks to our partner Eunice French. Shout out to you. So 20 and under, man, there's a little awakening. Whereas and I say awakening because this idea has been floated for a long time about the shift in for one reason or another, the shift in, oh, there he goes, for one reason or another, um in trying to find a way to support our HBCUs, not just in a alumni giving, not just in, for there was a generation that I'm a part of where I wanted to go to a HBCU because of movies like School Days, movies and TV shows like A Different World, right? So for 25 years or so, you haven't had any of that. And so there's generations that came after us, my era, who they didn't, they might have went because their family went, or for whatever reason, but the luster and the appeal, I feel like it died off in the early 2000s for people to just randomly want to go to HBCUs, specifically um, high caliber, high profile athletes. Typically, they would take their talents to D1 schools, big white programs, schools that they know that facilities is top notch. You know, the legal money they get in their pocket, that's going to do it. They might have a car to drive around, booster money. It's going to go, and then you're going to go pro, right? Um, but there's a move, with all the controversies surrounding the NFL player activism, and with all the silence that we see, and then the big money coaches in D1 sports, and just just people, even in times like now, people who you expected to speak up now and who are silent, people are looking at these D1, these big white schools who historically make millions and somewhat billions in revenue off of the back of these free labor, free paid players. People are like, yo, it's time to bring that home. Now, this movement, it's been kind of surfacing, bubbling for about 2 years now. They had the issue with the guys. I think it was Cam Newton's younger brother who went to Howard to try to start that trend. But now the reason why I say 20 and under, they're waking up is because I feel like whereas the movement before was like older people saying, yo, y'all should go to HBCUs instead of these D1 schools, come home to the culture. I feel like now what I've been seeing in the last couple of days on social media, it's the youngins saying, you know what? I should go to a HBCU instead of a D1 school, and bring it home to the culture. Instead of making these schools rich with my time and talents and gifts, we need to rebuild. All this talk of rebuild and unifying, bring it on home. So I thought that was a big deal. So I would love to hear your thoughts. If you went to a HBCU, if you did not, what are your thoughts on that? This new little, and check it out, hashtag HBCU. I think it's another hashtag that I saw floating around today, where there's a real discussion with youngsters and some high caliber prospects, athletic prospects who are saying, yo, I'm not going to that big program. I'm going to the lesser known, low profile HBCU, Black College, and help them build theirs, which is a big deal. So 347-391 4368. If you're calling, I don't catch you. I got one line, so just be patient. But right now, we're gonna so that's what we're talking about. And also, we talk about solutions. So right now, I'm gonna bring my man in, see if we can get this going. Bring my man in, brother Jay Moore, who wrote a really interesting commentary post on social media for a plan of action, and I'm trying to bring that up. We're gonna read it, we'll read through it, and we're gonna discuss. Welcome to the program. Let's go live. Jay, what's good with you?
What's going on, Lamont, man? Appreciate you having me, brother.
Oh, I appreciate you being on, man. I see you trying to what is that the workout room?
Yeah, man. Got it. This COVID got you stuck, and I didn't want to put on that good COVID 20.
Yeah, yeah. Now, do you ride the bike on the wall? Like, how does that work?
No, I take it outside.
Oh, I thought it was like a stationary joint. You just get up there.
I rode through the city yesterday and almost ran right into the demonstration by accident. So that was a close call.
Yeah, by accident.
Yeah, because I didn't know what was still going on. I thought it was just through the weekend.
Oh, nah. And you were down there on bikes, and the Peoples is the one that's on the bikes.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, you fit the
description. I turned around, because I don't do the whole put your hands on me type of thing,
Yeah. Well, that's good. Hey, so look, man, I'm let me pull this up.
Okay.
So bear with me. Share the screen. I'm gonna see if I can get it in the whole screen. Is it on your page?
It's on my Facebook page. Yes.
Okay.
At least, yeah, it should be there. We've gotten a lot of comments on it. While you try to pull it up, I can give a little background on how to put it. Obviously, like you and any other Black person probably in this country, we're probably feeling some sort of way about what's been going on, and not just with George Floyd, but the many killings at the hands of police officers these last few years, starting with Trayvon Martin. Yeah, I mean, just going back to our ancestors. But I'm a type of person where it's either going to go two ways with me. Either I'm going to get myself into trouble because I'm going to get angry, stressful, and then physical, or I can come up with solutions. And so for me, it was easier for me just to try to figure out a way to figure out what the problem is and then come up with solutions on where or how we can really accomplish change. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that just living in the DC area, you automatically understand, or hopefully you get a foundational understanding of the law, because I mean, politics lives right here. And you could throw a rock outside and hit 10 lawyers. And just understanding how our civics works and how our government works, and understanding how laws are passed and things like that. And with all that information in my head, I mean, I just sat down and I was like, I just need to come up with some things I think need to be put into place. And some of these are things that I've heard from my friends, I've heard on the TV, and they were just all swimming around in my head. And I just decided to put them on paper.
All right, so let's jump right into it. Like you said, this is a combination of original thought and just great ideas, which is fair. And these are the type of things I feel like need to be done, where we need to sit there and brainstorm and on the drawing board, strategize and plan, organize and mobilize, like you hear Killer Mike always saying.
Mm-hmm.
So rarely do we get a chance to see. It's almost like all of us with professional jobs and corporate jobs, man, we go to that meeting where we team building and everybody's adding to it. And then at the end of the week, after the retreat is over, we go back to the office with a new, what do they call it? MOU
or something.
Yeah, MOU, right. And this is that, we're capable. This is that. So, let's see. Walk me through the first one.
All right, so the entire plan of action is called pressure on pockets, and I say that because I think when you start putting pressure on people's money in one shape, form, or another, I think you start to get results. So the first one idea came up with, number one, is to call the 3-strike rule. Any officer who ends up with 3 reprimands, cases, or complaints against him is automatically terminated. First strike, and after an officer's first strike, they're required 1 week of mandatory counseling training. The second strike, after an officer's second strike, there will be a loss of 2 weeks' pay as well as 2 weeks of mandatory counseling and training. And then you get a third strike, you obviously aren't fit to be a police officer. And at this point, you lose your career. The expected desired income was officers will now understand there will be permanent repercussions and consequences for their actions that can affect their livelihood. I think it's important not only to list what we want, but what do we expect or the desired outcome from each of these things. So I also listed those after each one of my points.
Right.
But this one seems pretty simple and straightforward. I mean, just take a look at this case with this guy Chauvin, who had his knee on George Floyd's neck. You go back and you look at his record going back, 15, 16 years. This guy's, he's got a plethora of cases and complaints against him, and nothing's ever happened. And because of that, he ends up killing somebody.
Right.
So, looking, Chauvin was really the instigator for this first rule, this 3-strike rule.
And when you look at it, like you said, it's very simple, straightforward, and to the point. And it makes me think about the rest of us who have rules at our jobs. That's what I'm like. Oh yeah, that's kind of like at work when I don't do shit or I do something to somebody else, I'm out of there. And it's why can't that profession? And I love to hear from law enforcement too. It's like that profession. Why can't it have the same level of accountability and penalty that anybody else at any other job has?
To answer that question right now, but we'll get more into it. And I've got a lot of police officer friends, and they've kind of responded or called me personally about my post, this plan. One of the reasons why the difference between you and I at our job getting fired because we're at-will employees, it's because the Fraternal Order of Police. The FOP is very, very strong, and they're one of the strongest unions in police, and you just can't fire a police officer because of the FOP.
True. But at the same time, there are watchdog organizations. There are supposedly, there are review boards, supposedly. And if there's a paper trail, that paper trail should speak to something. It should speak to a pattern, a history. Even if we can't win all the fights, there should be somewhere. If dude got 11 marks on his record of him roughing up people, there should be an extra eye. There should be an extra level of scrutiny on that. Not reward him for being a tough police, but be like, yo, my man, like you extra out here from somebody, anybody. You know what I'm saying? So let's move.
That begs the question of whether a police officer's record is transparent or is it sealed? Like, can I go into a police department and say, listen, I want to see Lamont King's, police record for the last 20 years?
That don't happen.
No. And I don't even know if you can do it.
Yeah, right. Right.
That's something that could be explored. So,
all right, we're talking with Jay Moore, brother. Who what's your line of work, by the way? What do you
do? I do business development, project management. It's, just government work, man. It's been in the system.
Just for the viewers, so they have an understanding that this is not a reach. Putting stuff like this together is not a reach for you. It's not a stretch.
No, not at all. This is stuff that I really kind of do at my employment all the time. So developing strategies, putting together long-term plans to be enacted and implemented. So, and we'll actually probably talk about implementation also.
All right, so let's move into part 2 of your plan, death penalty.
I call this one the death penalty. Any officer accused of or charged with killing an unarmed human being. I want to stress unarmed. Mm-hmm. Not armed, not potentially armed or anything like unarmed human being is automatically fired and permanently unhireable as a police officer in the United States and its territories. In addition, all rights to gun ownership are stripped away permanently for the rest of that man's life or woman's life. Their names should be added to a national registry that is maintained by the Department of Justice or FBI, so that if they try to become law enforcement again, police departments will be required to check this registry to see if this person's name is on it. If the city or police department has to settle with the victims via lawsuit, the money will come out of the police 401k or pension plans. When they are charged, when they are charged, it will be for nothing less than first-degree murder. Which I think I want to change to second degree.
Okay.
I've talked to some lawyers.
The burden of
for first degree is very, very tough. So second, I'm probably going to have to change that to second degree, but regardless, nothing less.
Right.
Desired outcome. Hopefully, police officers now take a different approach based on academy training to deal with unarmed human beings and know that their action could result in the loss of career permanently and jail time.
All right. So let me give you a counter. Here's the first counter.
Mm-hmm.
What about in the case of extenuating circumstances? And by that, I mean, here's the argument in court. Yes, the individual was unarmed, but they were, enraged, physically overpowered him. He feared for his life, threat to his safety and others. He was being violent to other people around. He was protecting his other officers. How does this one, too, make that not a good defense?
Great question. And I actually had, during one of my conversations with yesterday, he presented this to me. In his example, and we'll use a real one. Lamont, you come out, and I'm just using you because
yeah.
You come out of a bank. You just robbed it. You come out, police officers are waiting for you. They pull their guns on you, tell you to stop. Put your hands up. You put your hands up, but then you suddenly start reaching to your side. Police officers are trained that, hey man, you start reaching for your side.
Yeah, your waistband. Yeah, that's what. Yeah.
I'm pumping you. I'm shooting you dead center mass. That's a great example because now I can go to court as a police officer and say, listen, we didn't know what he was reaching for.
Right.
I feared for my life, so I reacted. I'm with that. But here's a way to counter that. First of all, let's go back to training, right? Mm-hmm. And we're going to have to explore, say like I was the one put in charge of kind of implementing this. I would want to go back and look at academy training for examples like this and see what they're trained to do. But officers now are trained to wear cameras on their chest now. Mm-hmm. So first off, in any situation, before they approach any situation, those cameras have to be automatically cut on, right?
But that exists now. I don't mean to cut you off, but that exists now, but it's up to the discretion of the chief of that department.
And see, that's my problem with that. No more discretion. It is automatic. There's no more discretion. Any situation, camera comes on for transparency, and here's why. Here's the second point. I would say when you tell Lamont King to put the bank robber to put his hands up, the next thing you should say out loud with the camera running, if you reach for your waistband, we will shoot you.
Okay.
Because now, as a crook, Lamont, now you move your hands, you are liable to be killed.
So now I have an understanding of
Exactly.
what could happen.
It's on camera that you stated this to the perpetrator. So if you do end up reaching for your sidearm, your waistband, your side, and we shoot, it's a justified shooting because it's on camera. You said what you were supposed to say. You warn the perpetrator that, listen, if you move your arms, we're gonna kill you.
Right.
We're gonna shoot. You see what I'm saying? I think in a lot of this can be remedied if we're able to be more transparent about the interactions we're having between the cops and the perpetrators.
Right.
The reason why this Floyd thing, Mr. Floyd, God rest in peace, this thing probably wouldn't have been even close to being big was because one, somebody taped the whole thing and they got cameras seeing everything from the very beginning. This man at no point resisted arrest and did not have a weapon.
Right.
Why did he have to die? He's an unarmed human being.
And in context, because we're completely not even mentioning racism, white supremacy. I like this because it's tactical.
Mm-hmm.
This is something that could be implemented. Mm-hmm. So since you're so afraid of having a conversation about race, let's talk turkey. Let's talk money and reprimand and pension, and let's go that way so that we'll have a guidebook to follow. Since you don't want to talk about race, I do like that. Let's go to number 3.
Number 3, self-government. It is found that a certain precinct or police department in any city or county has a certain percentage to be determined of officers getting complaints, cases, or reprimands, the city should A, have the insurance premiums on the officers raised and the difference to be deducted from police officers' 401k and or pension plans, suspend all moonlighting opportunities in the city or county, and find any business that violates the suspension in the aforementioned B. The expected desired income. This will now make the city and police organizations to start paying more attention to those who are hired to protect and serve. Moreover, good officers will now be required to start policing those among them who are bad officers because their own ability to make extra money will be affected, as well as their retirement. The whole thing, I'm going to talk about this last part first.
Mm-hmm.
There's this whole thing about wanting to protect the blue. Police officers do not step up and call out other police officers because it is ingrained from day one in the academy, you protect the man beside you. Which is why when it's beyond me, you take a look at these things like you had an Asian officer standing in front of this man, putting his neck and justifying him doing it for 8 minutes.
Yeah.
It is mind-boggling that 3 other officers were sitting there, let this happen, and they're not even speaking out about it. They're not even saying, you know what, maybe this was wrong. Nothing. It is about protecting the badge and protecting the blue, and we want to break that down.
And if I'm standing, if I'm him, well, actually, I don't know his name, and I heard he's on the run, but that's the brother-in-law, allegedly.
Oh.
And if I'm him and I'm there in that moment, if there's a thought that, all right, we've all been in a situation where we turn bitch. At some point in time in life. Hey, I ain't got shit to do with that. You know what I'm saying? There's been that. But if in that moment, that's the thought process. There has to be that extra layer of, if I don't do shit, they about to take my pension for being here. There needs to be that.
Right.
There needs to be, it ain't me doing it, but the fact that I ain't stopping it, y'all gonna take my shit too.
Right.
Like that has to be that has to play into factor into your actions in that moment.
It changes behavior.
Yeah, change the behavior, right?
And
right.
moonlighting,
and culture.
For people who don't understand what moonlighting is,
right?
And University of Minnesota is as soon as this came out, University of Minnesota said we're no longer hiring Minnesota Police Department officers for any of our events anymore. Moonlighting is simply work that is done outside the official duties of a police officer. When you go to the club, the park, Love, H2O, any club, anywhere you go, I'm talking DC right now.
Yeah.
And there's and a lot of the security, they're probably police officers. They're moonlighting. They're making extra money.
Right.
That is And if people don't really understand that, moonlighting is a huge income resource for police officers because they just don't get paid a lot. Whether that's right or wrong, they don't get paid a lot. So they take a lot of these moonlighting opportunities within their jurisdiction and get paid extra. Some of the biggest moonlighting opportunities are always your NBA and NFL games. They pay a huge amount of money, and help subsidize police departments.
I remember I used to throw parties 15 years ago, and that cop cost was half the budget.
Yeah,
that off-duty police $50 an hour, one for every 50 people, and you start to add that up, and we spending $800 on off-duty cops, and then they get in there, and this ain't an indictment in all of them. I'm speaking from my experience. They get in there, and since they're off-duty, they don't necessarily want to police. But the moment they start policing, they're super cops.
Right.
Like, which is it going to be, Officer Jameson? What you going to do?
Baby.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to 4, which I think is probably my favorite, because this speaks to a change in culture.
And I'll be totally honest. I heard this one listening to. You remember Montel, the guy who had the talk show host, show?
Montel Williams.
Montel Williams. I heard him say this on some random interview he was having. I was like, good Lord, this is on point.
Mm-hmm.
Mental health training. Officers should go through and experience PTSD also. And officers go through PTSD and need as much training as counseling as any civilian. Okay. While at the police academy, more emphasis on proper training and de-escalating situations, confrontations where the suspect is unarmed specifically. At the academy, through background investigations going back to the age of 15, including a social media scrub and any organizational affiliations will be instituted, as well as a thorough psychological evaluation by trained professionals not employed by the city or police department, and the files will be stored and maintained by the DOJ and FBI. See, at the end of the academy, officers will be required to do 14 to 30 days walking and exploring their future assigned beat without a gun. Police organizations should institute a schedule that requires 6 months on and 1 month off. First week is vacation, no work. Second week is a psychological mental evaluation. Third week, you'll be required to volunteer in the community. And fourth week, once again, you walk your beat in the community again. The expected outcome, desired outcome, no doubt officers are often put in stressful situations every day, which can cause and increase the level of fear and or PTSD that needs to be addressed.
Mm-hmm.
To address fear/PTSD, it needs to start at the police academy and continue through an officer's entire career. There needs to be more direct emphasis on the mental state of those charged with the job of protecting and serving. This is also one of my favorites.
Yeah.
I think each one, like with the police academy is where everything starts in my book. You know, there needs to be, and I don't know, I've heard some things about training, and I don't want to speak from a point of like I know what's going on, because I do one day want to go see what happens at an actual police academy. But what I'm guessing, in my humble opinion, is that there's something going on with the training where they're not being trained correctly. And from when I posted this yesterday, there were some folks that talked about how a lot of the training now has to do with military, almost paramilitary.
Yes.
And I think that's where we need to start. We have a military. If you want to be in the military, look, Uncle Sam is looking for some good people. Your charge as a police officer is to protect and serve.
Yeah.
You are to protect and serve, not kill. That's what the military is for. The military instrument is to kill, not police officers. So we need to take a look at training and really start now. The next thing is taking a look at backgrounds. And I'm not going to even sugarcoat this. How is it that KKK folks can become police officers?
I mean,
somewhere along the line, we're missing out on not understanding where folks are coming up from. And through social media scrubs, looking at what organizations are kind of what people are tied to and things like that, we can figure out, wait a minute, This guy may not like black people. This guy may not like Asians.
Well, I mean, again, now we get into a conversation that they probably won't be willing to have openly, and because I mean, the historical connection of those two organizations, like their foundation overlaps.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that's a whole nother thing.
Mm-hmm.
With regard to training correctly, I would use a different word because they are training correctly. They're training. So they have this thing, and just in my own little bit of research, where law enforcement in this country has had an interesting history of ups and downs, and after a few key incidents, big high profile stories that you might have seen a whole movie on, few key incidents, law enforcement's mentality was, we don't ever want to be in a situation where we're outgunned. So they had to adjust because society is more violent. So they had to adjust, and violence and war is all America knows anyway.
Yes.
So that's going to make its way. That's going to permeate its way into law enforcement. Our neighbors just to the north, they peace officers, like, literally. Like, I don't have a gun type. You know what I'm saying? I may walk you down on this horse and beat you over the head with this club, but we don't even have guns.
Right.
So it's a different, it's cultural. So I say that to say that point. But Jay brought up a good point. Let me bring this back. This other Jay. He said, to the point that we're talking about right now, don't expect the officers to change that culture. Culture change is a supervisory responsibility. The balance between cops that risk their lives daily create a bound that is hard to break. Sergeant and up, you got to force them standards. So the most recent example of that is Louisville, Kentucky, where the police chief, the mayor, after the shooting the other night of the guy who wasn't in the protest, he was out there dropping off food to he was a barbecue, he was independent, he was a small business owner. They called him Mr. Barbecue. He out there dropping off food to seniors, and he was running a food bank. In the midst of the protests, the police say someone shot at them. They shot back. They get him. Of course, their body cameras aren't on. So the mayor is like, yo, this is a tragedy that should never happen. You out of there. That's what has to happen. Because if you get that leadership is going to think twice everywhere else to be like, hey, look, we have to debriefing in the morning and be like, all right, everybody have a good day, be safe, make it home, turn on your cameras. And niggas in the back like murmuring, like, no, motherfucker, turn on your cameras. You're not risking my job because you up to some silly shit. So I think that's a good point where it has to come from the top down.
What Jay said will be addressed in the last one.
Okay, let's keep it moving.
All right, and just in so number 5. So community organization and voting. This is where really the other 4 won't happen if we don't do this part.
Okay.
Right? This could easily be number 1. Community and organization vote. In order for any new ideas and solutions to be implemented, we have to be organized and strategic. This is where we kind of get lost. And this is where great ideas kind of just stay great ideas. Because the hard part about voting and understanding politics and understanding any form of government is that you actually have to know how it works. And I think that's where a lot of us, particularly Black folks, we really have never really been, for the most part, interested in understanding the political machine and how it operates,
right,
and how much money actually goes into it. So, a platform that contains solutions, ideas, new laws will need to be created and as a majority agreed upon. What that means is that as Black people or as a community, let's just say Northeast DC.
Okay.
Northeast needs to come together and say, listen, based on what we've seen and where we live, these are our 5 demands. Let's say the demands are the other 4 things that I have listed here. These are our 4 demands. This is our platform, right? This is what we've agreed upon. Northeast is behind it, right? B, those running for mayor, district attorney, police chief, or sheriff will need to speak on their agendas and accept the platform created in A. If they do not, we slot our own candidates and/or we buy our candidate.
Okay. Talk that money talk, Jay.
Talk that money talk. This is what that means. Now, In every city or county, for the most part, it's different. And that's the hard part, because I'm not talking federal right now.
Yeah,
I'm not talking federal.
Right.
Talking local government. Your mayor is an elected official. Your district attorney is an elected official. And I'll tell you the importance of her. And the police chief and or sheriff is usually, they are either elected, usually a sheriff is elected, and your police chief can be elected, but they're usually assigned by your mayor. In DC, the mayor selects the police chief.
Okay.
Now, the district attorney and the police chief and the police organization, they work together in tandem. The DA, the prosecution, in a lot of these cases, the reason why police officers get off is because the DA works in tandem with the police department.
Yes.
For example, in Prince George's County, Maryland, it was decided and helped and put together by the FOP in Prince George's that if an incident like this George Floyd happened, they get 10 days before they have to put out a statement. 10. Now, I don't know what you need 10 days for.
Yeah,
but what it sounds like to me is you're trying to get your story together.
Yeah, right.
The DA gets with the police officers and they get their story right? Now, and I'll come back to that. That's just an example. But these people now, come election time, what are these people who are always elected? What are they going around town doing? They're holding town halls. They're holding little dinners at people's homes. Why? Because they're reaching out to the community. This is the time where Northeast says, here's our agenda, Mayor Bowser.
There we go.
Mayor Bowser, do you agree to these? Do you like these? If you are in agreement with these and will implement these, Northeast as a whole, our block will put you in office. We will vote for you. You have our vote. If Mayor Bowser, I don't really like 2 and 3. Well, Mayor Bowser, then you don't have our vote.
Right.
We're gonna back the person who backs our agenda.
Right.
And if we can't find one, we're gonna pay for one. Meaning, our money's gonna talk. Everybody in Northeast is gonna put $5 into an escrow account. Hopefully, that gets up to a certain amount, and from there, we're gonna put somebody in place and says, "Listen, you push our agenda, you will get this money and help you get elected." Because anybody knows money is what really talks.
And this is key because this can happen anywhere. I mean, not even, it's hypothetical, but it's all about organization. And these are things, and again, no judgment. These are things that a lot of us, you could easily say, "Oh, this is what the white folks do. They've been doing it for years." A lot of us don't know how to do it. So that needs to be taught first.
Exactly.
We got to have a little workshop or something with some weed and liquor, and then that comes. You know what I'm saying? You gotta be real with it. Like we gotta get our people in the door, throw a party, go, and then, but then have that little, it ain't a timeshare presentation. It ain't flat tummy tea. It's on some real. It ain't multi-level. You know what I'm saying? But we gotta learn this stuff first, and that's crazy. But your C bullet is super key because that's been a recent conversation on social media.
Well, C feeds into what you just said. All civic organizations, city, county sports teams, fraternity and sororities, in particular, my organization, Phi Beta Sigma, your organization, Alpha Phi Alpha, must now organize communities to get out and vote and also monetarily support these efforts. I just talked about money. We just talked about, you just spoke about education. Let's just take a fraternity. You have an organization of 100,000 who have a college education, who at some point have people in these organizations who are political. You have an alpha brother who is in Prince George's County in office. They know the ins and outs. Let's grab these people. Let's start organizing and helping all areas become this voting block and teach, like you said, and educate. This is how we're going to get what we want. This is how we move our platform. This is how we need to come together and vote as a group. This is a team sport.
Yeah.
This is not us just running around this, that, and the third, blah, blah. This is a team sport. And that's how you have power. And this is how we push what we want.
And I'll let you close out with the expected desired outcome for that point.
The people in every community have to take control of how they want to be treated, and that starts with understanding politics and how the system works. It will take an organized agenda. It will take money. It will take each and every person to get out and vote. Point blank. Period. That's it, man. Like, and understand was just a start. Believe it or not, I wrote this in like 15 minutes.
Right.
I pushed it out there because I wanted to hear what other people had to say, what their thoughts were, what areas need to be updated. I've gotten a lot of positive feedback. There are a lot of people who are going to push it to folks that they know in law enforcement or in politics and things like that. Again, this is just a start. Mm-hmm. Even if you don't like 1, 2, 5, and 3, if you like number 2, get behind it.
Yeah.
Push that in where you live. All this may not be up your alley. All this may not apply. But we need solutions, and we need to start learning how to implement them, and we need to start doing it now because we have their attention. These protests, believe it or not, are helping. The destruction and losses are costing people money. We have their attention. We got their ears. It is now time to abuse it.
And to that point, I saw a meme today. I don't know how true it was. I didn't have time to fact check it, so I will say that. But they were saying how after King was killed, 6 days of rioting went on, 43 million in property damage, which was a lot back then. And they said, but the civil rights bill came a day later. So you can make the argument. That's all I'm gonna say. The argument can be made for violence and destruction. And it's also problematic, but the case can be made that the only way people is going to be heard is to make enough noise. So there's that. And I appreciate it. Thanks for coming on. Let's Go Live, brother Jay Moore. I appreciate you, man. We're gonna find a way to kind of get this out there and retool it and get it in front of some eyes and just take this opportunity to brainstorm. And some people may have some takeaways and some add-ons or whatever, but this won't be the last of that.
No, I hope. And feel free, folks, if you have any input or additions, I'm all ears. This is not just for me. This is for everybody. I don't even have to take credit for this. I'm part of the people. Let's make it happen.
Appreciate it, Jack. I get with you.
My man.
Cool, man. That's cool. And that's, that type of thing helps me. When somebody, we can talk and pontificate and brainstorm and be like, oh, that's crazy. We can do that all day. Oh, shit's crazy. Man, that's messed up. Man, they tripping. We can do that all day. But when somebody I always say, when somebody smarter than me can lay it out where I can be like, oh, okay, I can see how point 1 could work. I can see how point 2 could work. Okay, 3. Bama's gonna be they not really with 3, but 4. When I can see it laid out in a plan, I think we have a better chance at trying to make some real headway and laying out a plan. Strategize, organize, mobilize. All right, so let's go back. Let me grab these comments real quick. We were talking about HBCU. That was Jay Moore, by the way. I put up his Instagram, social media, and all of that after the show, so you can get with him directly. It's Let's Go Live with Lamont King. We're gonna be doing this every day. Completely viewer supported. I thank y'all for joining in. Shout out to the sponsors yesterday. So HBCUs, right? Because I saw some comments that I wanted to get to right before I brought them on. My man Kenny, the mayor. I don't know if he's still on. All right, so we were talking about there's this kind of thing going on today that was trending yesterday and today about with everything that's going on and trying to refocus on our own community and take grabbing our own shit back in house. There was a conversation about like high profile athletes that have a chance to really go far, to instead of going to D1s, go to HBCUs. And it was a high profile Mickey Thompson. I don't know. Somebody put the link up. I'll put it up there. I mean, put the name. I forgot what his name is. Young dude, basketball phenom, I guess. And he was like, hey, this was his post, his tweet. Hey, maybe I should just go to a HBCU, which kind of was a part of a larger conversation. But I want to hear from people that went to HBCUs. Like, what do you think, man? That the school days effect was real for us. The different world effect was real for us. Whether I or you from that era had a chance to go pro in sports, that's irrelevant. Knowing that Hillman or something like Hillman existed, or Mission College or something like it existed, especially for those of us who weren't in the South, or those of us who weren't, just didn't grow up on the campus of a HBCU, who didn't have uncles, aunts, and all that. Knowing that Mission and Hillman existed, like that was a thing. So now, with all the troubles that HBCUs, some of them have been having over the last few years with regards to accreditation, retention, funding, and credibility, and accreditation is different from credibility. Accreditation that's more of a financial thing. Credibility is like, oh, you went to a black school, you're not, that's less than a PWI, or that's less than a big D1, big white school. So having dealt with all those issues, it kind of like now seeing the people, young people 20 and under, about to go to college, about to go to middle school, academic or athletic or otherwise, looking at these schools beyond Howard and Hampton, beyond Morehouse and Spelman, and saying, hey man, I'm about to go where but this country is disrespecting my culture, taking advantage of it. I'm about to bring it home. I'm like, is that a thing? Let's see. So we were talking about college athletes. Desmond said, I don't know if you're still on, Desmond. He said the start for that would be to get the nation's top recruits to attend HBCUs, and that would lead others to follow suit. And I think that happened about a couple years ago. Again, I gave one example of Cam Newton's younger brother who went to Howard, but there were like 3 players on that team who did that because he did it. Something happened. I don't know the inner workings, and they ended up transferring. And what I said then was, it could be done, but it's going to be painful. And there may be somebody who's highly touted, super prospect, but this is a 2-year, 3-year process. It's not going to happen overnight. But that 2 year, 3 years, those are key for that athlete. So if it don't work in the first year, he got to bounce. So that's the tough part. The tough part is who's going to eat the change. At the beginning of every paradigm shift, it's got to be somebody that eats the change. And that's hard. Those are the people that history forgets. So that's going to be tough. Kenny says, man, we got to move past their ice being colder first, meaning people have to get out of the mindset that a white school is better, when clearly evidence has shown us that is not always the case. And then we have to prove that their goals can be reached when attending an HBCU. Now that's important. So if I want to be a doctor and I'm 16 or whatever, I'm about to graduate, go to college, and all I hear of is Harry and Harvard and all these big UPenn, all these big programs, I have to be retrained with the mindset that I can get it done at who got a good medical school? I don't know, Morehouse Medical, whatever. I need the understanding needs to exist that whatever it is that you want to do, you can do it at a high level at a HBCU and still get treated as legitimate when you come out. You know what I mean? So I agree with that. Anybody want to talk about that? 347-391-4368. I'm gonna take one call before we get out of here. Number right here. HBCUs. In other news, what we don't know now. I don't know if you saw this. I thought this was interesting. While I wait, let me get that comment off of there. Hold up. Hold up, champ. All right, here we go. In closing, we about to wrap the show up. I just saw something funny today. All right, so back to what I was talking about earlier, right? The protest and they're being hijacked. So I just wanted to give y'all some proof and some evidence, because a few weeks ago, and I might have to do a whole nother show on this. A few weeks ago, I floated the idea of some. I was at my wit's end. The Arbery case was forefront. I was mad. I was frustrated, and I was like, yo, we got to do something different, tricky, manipulative, cunning, spookle sat by the door, because it don't matter. Like they shooting you, whoever, like you're in their visual view of us, you're just an animal. Like it don't matter. You can be all, hey, well, why? Please stop killing us. Respect my humanity. That don't matter to them. So I was like, uniform change. Let's play a game, like a device. Everybody left the house. with a MAGA hat on, you wouldn't immediately think to shoot me first. And I wasn't being facetious. I was like legit. I was being legit as a device. I said at least it will cause confusion and give us time to regroup. That's where I was feeling with it. People said, "That's ridiculous. Oh, you Kanye." People call me Candace Owens, and I was like, "This ain't no Candace Owens shit. I'm not talking about embracing the mindset. I'm talking about faking it in public to throw them off their game. That's all I was talking about, right? Couldn't really articulate my point as I rarely can because of my low vocabulary. Um, but we've been watching the protest for a week, and we've seen where's it at? We have seen Black Lives Matter effectively being hijacked by these white folks and these other organizations with shit. Stay on the trickery. So this is what I was trying to convey. So I'm gonna do this in closing. Yeah, Raynetta said they beat me down. We was talking about MAGA hats and masks. So this is what I was trying to get at, right? All right, so clearly this is Seattle last night. Seattle was on fire, ablaze. It was a literal war zone. I mean, they shot. You got to Google it because I can't do audio video right now. They shot the lady. That's not funny. They shot the lady, the news anchor, with a flashbang. The police. And this was quote unquote a peaceful protest in the beginning, but they shot her on camera. She took a flashbang grenade right to the bow, like explosion on camera. So everybody's running, and then they catch this shot, and I caught this shot. I was like, this is what I was trying to explain to many of you 4 weeks ago. This is right here. So BLM, Black Lives Matter, right? We all know that they're going around. It's either white supremacists, anarchists, or undercover police. We know this. The news is talking about that. We know this. This is a fact. Going around spray painting that to make it look like it's black folks. So that when they get the authority, as they did yesterday, to go out and start knocking heads and shooting down black people in the streets, it's because of this. This would be justified. But this is what I'm saying, though. This is the point I'm trying to make. Not a person of color in this image at all. Confident, cavalier, careless with the BLM joint, like just out in the open, though, like completely hijacked it. So now if you think about it, you don't even know what BLM means. They have completely shifted the focus, one, but they've also hijacked the definition. You're not even following, but it's cool though. But I just wanted you to see this. He left his house, put BLM on the trash can, jumped in there, and starting shit. So that means uniform across the line. BLM is that. And what I was trying to say last week, Jay, you're right. We broadcast our ideas too much. But I figured it was one that I needed to get off my chest, and that was the only platform that I could use. I was like, if we all had the MAGA shit on, just on some hiding in plain sight, they wouldn't know who to shoot first. That's all I was saying in that moment. All right, so there's that. Last two things, and then we out of here. I don't know if y'all saw this. I thought this was outstanding and amazing. Navigating. Let me work this around. One person studio here. Let's see. Share screen. Different tab. I want y'all to see this. So this is also in that same regard. Something I was talking about. So what needs to happen is when these people are caught doing these things, like I got to choose my words carefully. They need to get rolled on. Someone needs to roll on them. Not saying we or I. But I saw this. John Bones Jones, MMA fighter. He sees the cats spray painting, and he like, nah, man. Give me that. He tell you, I don't have audio. I can't do audio right here. But he took it off of him. And they like, what? And he ain't got no mask on. He like, you see me. You know what I do in the ring. Give me. This not game time. That's what we need to be doing out there. That's what people need to be doing out there. What needs to be happening. And the last one, and then I'll leave on this. If I could find it. The last one, I may not be able to because I got too many windows open, and it's fine. Anyway, so I'll close on this one. Again, I appreciate y'all for even hanging out this long. It's our show. It's gonna be every day. Let's go live. Let's go. We're gonna talk about everything, man. We're gonna have all types of guests and everything. Completely listener supported, listener funded. But I'm gonna close out on this. There was another clip I was trying to pull up. I don't know if you saw it. So there was in DC, there was a agitator who took a hammer. He was all black, face cover. He took a hammer and was just destroying a curb, a cement curb, in front of a line of police. A cement curb. Later on, I will post that video in the comment section so you can watch it later. And the folks down there was like, nah, Slim, and rolled on him, tackled him, and then handed him to the police. Now it was beautiful in that regard, but the part I had I had an issue with was like, well, wait a minute, why didn't the police do nothing while they're watching him tear the cement up in the middle of a peaceful protest? People walking this way, cops is right here, and dude is on the curb with a hammer. Where you get a hammer from, Mo? How you just bring a hammer to the joint anyway? And so they roll on him, give him a couple of these, touch him up a little bit, and then and hand them to the police. And I was like, that's what needs to be happening. That has to happen. But it's neither here nor there. So I appreciate y'all. Let's see. I think that's about it, man. Again, YouTube, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm trying to get my numbers up so I can monetize my account. And I'll see y'all tomorrow. It'll probably be 4:00. I may do an evening show. We testing some things out. This is a soft launch for this week. Just look for more stuff for me. If you see the notifications, just tune in and be like, yeah, I'm about to watch that. And share it on your pages. And I appreciate y'all. And be safe out there, man. Tonight is another night. You made it.